From this moment on, you will now be known as Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Welcome, brother Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Enough with the Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh, bump.
What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to talk about keeping that water clear. The first step is going to be keeping that glass and rock clean. I know it may sound simple, but that's because it is simple. The first surface that usually gets dirty is the glass and then the rock. People often ask me, yo D, how do you keep your tank looking clear? Coral, no coral, rock, no rock, whatever the size of the tank is. The first step is keeping the glass and the rock clean. Now, one of the methods I do is you'll see I got multiple glass cleaners. I have them in different sizes because this is a 6-foot tank. And if I was to spend all day cleaning all of this glass with a 3-inch wide mag glass cleaner, I'd probably never do it. So the easiest way to make sure you're going to do the job is to have the right tools for the job. So I have my small mag float, and as you guys are used to, I have my Magna viewer, my magnifying glass viewer, and that was the big round one. And then I go to my flipper mag for getting the really hard to remove algae off of the glass. So this is a two-handed job, man. This flipper is really strong, and you want to be real careful not to run these razor blades into the corners where your silicone is. Number one way of messing up your tank is removing that silicone and weakening the seam. I'm sure you don't want to do that. So use both hands. You can flip it around. One part of the flipper has the razor on it. The other side has the flat end. I usually use the other side when I go into the corners or the glass to make sure that I don't go into that silicone. As you can see, you're already noticing that the tank is already looking clean, but that's just because you're cleaning the glass. And also I want to add that going in there and cleaning the glass will keep that algae from growing on any other surface. So now the second thing is, you're going to see I got my little soft bristle brush to go in there like a good housekeeper and dust off the rock. I don't care how many pumps you got, Gyre, MaxiJet, Ecotech, whatever pump you got, dust is going to settle wherever it has the opportunity to get into a crust or crevice. For this reason, I have a nice soft bristle brush. You can get it at the dollar store, so that I can go in there and dust around the hard to reach areas. You want to do this probably once or twice a week. You can do it once a month depending on the size of your tank, and you'll see that it's actually pulling towards my gyre. That's because the gyre actually pulls towards, and you'll notice my brush floats. Very helpful, because if I told you how many times I dropped that brush into a corner and couldn't get it, you'd lose your marbles. So this one floats. Shake off any loose rock, anything that you can. This one always collects, so I'm just used to shaking it off and sticking it back in there. And you can see how much dust and sediment was on there. That's because I feed corals in this little area, and it kind of collects in those little corners. Now my secret weapon, the turkey baster, aka my magic wand, for going in and around the base of corals. That's right, the coral tissue. People have problems with vermid snails, pyramid snails, bristle worms. That's usually attracted to the coral because when you're feeding the coral, any leftover foodstuffs gather around the base of the corals. You want to test the theory? Take the cleanest SPS or soft coral, whatever kind of specialty coral you got. If your tank looks absolutely pristine, go in there with a turkey baster and give it a few tries and see what comes out around the base of the corals. I think you'll be strangely surprised. So I go in here, I make a few passes around the base of the coral and the rock, any little crevices, especially if I see my gobies hanging around a certain area, because gobies take a dump. Yes, that's right. Don't be shocked. All fish poop in the areas that they hang around in the most. You usually have the most poop. So I go in there around the sand and I just give it a little blast, try to get that dust and poop into the water column where it can be picked up by the overflow. So you know you're going to dust this off. You probably have to do this a few times just because as you're blowing it around, it's going to want to settle back in there. So I go back to the other side of the tank with the magic wand here. Yes, I do call it the magic wand because it is magic how easy it is to clean your tank with something so simple as a turkey baster. So now I go in here around the cabbage leathers, I go in here around my other pumps here. I just have a regular cave back here where my maroon clowns hang out, and there's really strong flow between the two pumps that it kind of gathers right in this area. So I always know that there's going to be a little bit sediment, not as much as the other side of the tank, but back in these corners there's always going to be a little bit of sediment over here. And you'll notice after a while when you keep your tank, you'll get really familiar with the dirty areas of the tank. What you could do is move your pumps around every now and then. I know that gets old because we want to kind of set it and forget it. And you know, just back in here around the little caves and corners, I'm going to go back here where the clowns hang out and stir up the sand a little bit. My yellow tang loves this. He usually comes out to see where I'm cleaning so that he can go back and nibble on the uncovered, now clean algae areas. And it's really good for them because it kind of gives them an opportunity to get those poop areas out of the tank, and it also spreads all of the toxins from all of that, releases it from the sand into the water column so that it can be picked up by your overflow. Down here, I'll go in here with the turkey baster a couple of times. I'll probably go back in here with the brush because it's going to want to settle back down in there. You got to remember that the overflow area in comparison to the surface area of the tank with all the water is really small. So you're kind of kidding yourself if you're thinking that all of this material is getting captured by the overflow. No, it kind of wants to settle. So you got to go in there, get it blowed around, go back in there with the brush. You know, you think you bother the corals, but corals are pretty resilient. You know, in the wild, they're hit with waves, they're hit with rocks. They kind of get really accustomed to these routines. So I go in there with the brush, clean it off a little bit. You want to keep that sediment going up into the water column where it can be captured by the overflow. And once again, you see this one area, really high flow, but it attracts all the sediment into this big branching rock here. So now the more and more you clean it off, the less and less sediment will come up. That's when you kind of knowing that you're getting the job done. One thing that I probably will do in a future video is I may move some of this rock out because it was put here, you know, with the blocking the Kenya tree from spreading all over the place, which I don't have to do anymore. So anyway, let's stand back and give the tank a minute to settle out. I'm going to show you that I have the flow really high. This pump really turns over water and it hits the gyre, which actually pushes a lot of water to the surface. This is a good thing to do anytime you're cleaning the tank because you are releasing the toxins, diatoms, sediment, and any old foods that you've dosed into the tank, into the water column, and you want to get this all captured by your overflow. It also lets you clean the water out, good oxygen exchange, you know, pick up all of the gunk and old foodstuffs. It's like flushing a toilet. You want to get all of this stuff flowing into your overflow. I know it's kind of dark here. Let me adjust my camera. Your sump, you may or may not want to turn off the skimmer in your sump and just run everything on your filter socks because you're going to have to remove this. I put a clean filter floss pad in here before I started so that I can see that everything's caught. You can see it settling back down again. I'm going to give it a once more with the brush and probably about a minute or two, and just get this stuff nice and clean where it'll get picked up. You can see my gobies come back out there and the sand is not as dirty as it was. These guys also do a good job of stirring up your sand and getting that diatomic algae stuffs flowed up into the water column. And this is one of the reasons I love filter floss, because filter floss gets dirtied up, you just toss it out and throw it out and it's clean. This is also a good time to clean your power heads. You can see it getting really clear. The water is already clearing up like by leaps and bounds. You can see I got it ramped up. I don't even have this on 100%. I have this pump on 40% right now. But you can see the oxygen exchange and the clarity of the water is really good for the fish and keeps them happy and healthy. It also controls your your exchange, your alkalinity and calcium mix is why you want to know where those high flow areas are so that your corals can actually be happy. This one is really irritated. This area, you can see I've uncovered the base algae over these areas. It's looking clear already. You can already see the change. The corals will close up for a while, and the pumps, you can keep those guys running just to make sure that they don't settle back into those old little crevices. You don't want that dust settling back in. This is the perfect time to take a stop, have a drink. Kiddos, if you're not old enough, this could be Kool-Aid, high C, iced tea. Get you one of those sweet teas from McDonald's. Sit back and relax and let it get a chance to clear up. The fish are already coming out and exploring. And this is the easiest way to keep water clean. There's no magic cure. There's no chemical. There's no throw this in there and clear your water up. It's simple tank maintenance. If I had $1 for every time people ask how you keep such a big tank clean, this is what it is. You don't have to do it every day, every week. Most of us get lazy, and the fish love it. See how he's eating that freshly uncovered algae that was buried under all that sediment? Fish will be healthy, the tank will be clean, and you will be able to enjoy your fish's happiness. There's my boy little Mike. He loves coming out and watching me clean the tank. What's up, Mikey? Now this is the next morning. You could see what a difference in the tank. The rock is clean, the fish are out and about. You can actually see the fish's change in behavior. I'm gonna have to add some more water. I did change out about 5 or 10 gallons of water because I was vacuuming the sand bed and running it right into the filter floss to clean that surface area out in the back areas of the tank. So the corals will be opening up, the moonlights are on, and once again, it's really easy to do. You can see that this is a high flow area of the tank, which is why you don't get as much sediment over there. But I'll probably change that flow up a little bit, have one pump cut off later, have another one cut on, just to keep it going, keep it clean, keep it simple. KISS method, baby. You know how I do it? KISS method. The simple methods are the easy methods, and you're more likely to do it. So now you just want to create random flow patterns to make sure that your dust doesn't settle in the same old areas that it was in. And your corals will probably open up a little differently for a while. You'll get used to that. And it's all about keeping it simple. Once again, keeping it simple. There's no chemical method that I will use. They sell you the farm, and you don't want to do that. So till next time, this is D signing off. Click subscribe. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you did. I want to thank you guys for watching, and keep your sanity by keeping it simple, and keep it tanking. Tank on, baby. Keep on tanking. See ya.